get mad at your parents. What's wrong with her? I used to think to myself, my mother lost her mind. You know, but when I look back now, I thank her. Even though she's not here, I thank her. Because I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for her. She used to say, you know what? I'm your mother, but I got to be your mother and your dad. The mother side was pretty cool. The dad side was something else. And you know, it's tough to run that role of both mother and father because fathers have to be tough sometimes. They got to come down hard. Let us think about this as fathers, as potential fathers, as young men, because people don't hate you. But we got to get your attention because we know where you're headed for. And we want you to dream higher than you dream right now. Yes?
Yes.
A good father is one that is most unsung, unafraid, unnoticed, yet one that's one of the most valuable assets to our society. They show love in so many ways, strong values they build, quiet wisdom they exhibit, and devotion to family and devotion to others. That's what a dad is all about. You know, and boys, I gotta say this, boys need a man in their life to rough and tumble and do all those things, rough house. Where else do they learn it from? The streets. No, they should learn it from their dad. How to negotiate with other men. How to talk with other men. Brothers can't teach that. It takes a man to teach that. It takes a man to teach his daughter how to deal with people and how to deal with men. That's what it takes. It takes us fathers to make sure that our daughters are raised in such a fashion that they're not being taken advantage of, that a game is not being played on them. It's us that have to explain to them what love is truly all about. Amen. Now for the message. Deuteronomy, 6th chapter, 6th verse. But that whole 6th chapter is trying to tell us something. And I'm not going to read the whole 6th chapter, but I'm going to read a little bit to you. Because I want you to understand something. We as men have a mission. And God has expectations of us. Ain't that right, Karen? Now, Deuteronomy 6th chapter, you get it at the first verse. Now, this is the command. This is long. So you guys bear with me. I want you to read along with me because I want you to see this. You know, a lot of us focus on one thing or two things, but even though this is Old Testament, and we know that there's two different dispensations involved here. We have the dispensation of the Old Testament, and we got the dispensation of grace and truth. And even though there's a separation, there is still continuity between the two. And that's where we're going today. It says, now this is the commandment, and these are the statutes and judgments which the Lord your God has commanded to teach you, that you may observe them in the land which you are crossing over to possess, that you may fear the Lord your God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, you and your son and your grandson, your children, I believe, all the days of your life, and that your days may be prolonged. Therefore hear, O Israel, and be careful to observe it, that it may be well with you, and that you may multiply greatly, as the Lord God of your fathers has promised you, a land flowing with milk and honey. Be patient, we're still going. It says, hear, O Israel, the Lord your God, the Lord is one God. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. And these words which I command you today shall be in your heart. Go only have 2 more verses. Bear with me. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and you shall talk to them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, when you rise up. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as bracelets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gate. What in the world is going on here? This is going to be a quick message. Moses, as we know, wrote the first few books of the Bible, and in Deuteronomy, he is recapitulating what had occurred since they left Egypt. As you know, that the children of Israel, when they first came out of Egypt, they sinned, they rebelled. And so God caused them to wander in the wilderness until that generation died off. And there was only a couple of people left out of that old generation that was still around. But Moses was telling them, as they were getting ready to cross over to their promised land, he